A young pregnant mother, a pastor's wife, killed in her home.
It has been nearly 2 weeks since an intruder broke into Blackburn's home and murdered Amanda.
The first time I felt anger was when they arrested him and I saw the photos of the guys.
We're heading to Indianapolis. A horrible tragedy occurred in the peaceful Indianapolis, which was to become a center of peace for the Blackburn family and God's home on earth. Welcome to True Crime. Let's get started. Early on November 10th, 2015, a car was parked in front of a house located on Sunnyfield Court. Davey Blackburn had come back after his morning session at the gym. Just as he was ready to step out of the automobile, a phone call kept him inside for a short while. He exited the automobile and entered the house. After ending the telephone conversation, he froze as soon as he opened the door, dropping the gym bag from his grasp. His wife lay in a pool of blood on the floor of the living room. He ran to his wife, quickly examined her, checked for a pulse, and quickly dialed the emergency number. The woman was still alive. Everything was disorganized. A little child on the second floor of the residence was crying. It took 8 minutes for emergency services to arrive at the property. The vicinity was cordoned off. They sent the victim to the hospital. It was discovered that she was Amanda Blackburn, age 28. On July 31st, 1987, Amanda Grace Byers was born in Muskegon, Michigan. The family relocated to Elkhart in 1995, although she continued her education in Indianapolis, Indiana. Amanda was graduated from Elkhart Christian Academy there in 2006. She also earned an associate's degree in 2008 from Pensacola Christian College in Pensacola, Florida. Amanda was raised in a very religious household that valued Catholicism and the teachings of the Bible. Amanda's father served as the head pastor for First Baptist Church in Elkhart, Indiana. The girl knew the church's religious customs by heart since she was little. Amanda aspired to serve Jesus. Amanda had affection for other people in whatever she did. However, the girl's heart raced when she saw her one and only true love. That was, in fact, Davey Blackburn. His hometown was Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The man was from a devout Christian home and attended Southern Wesleyan University to study religion. Davey's best companion and Amanda's sister arranged for them to meet on a blind date at a Hawk Nelson Christian band event. Even though they were attending different colleges at the time, the couple always went on vacation together. They went for walks together, talked about their deepest feelings, and reviewed their favorite lines from church books. They were so respectful and sensitive to a significant relationship between a man and a woman that they spent a considerable amount of time practicing effective communication techniques from a psychologist. The marriage of Amanda and Davey Blackburn took place on August 1st, 2008. The Blackburns resided in South Carolina for the first 4 years following their marriage. Under Pastor Perry Noble, Davey served as an associate pastor at New Spring Church. However, the young guy desired more, and he recommended to Amanda that she go to Indianapolis in order to start a new youth church. Amanda battled the urge to leave South Carolina for a while since she didn't want to part from her loved ones or leave her family. The Blackburns relocated to Indianapolis in 2012 from South Carolina in order to establish a standalone, well-known church on the north side. Weston Blackburn, the family's firstborn child, was born in 2014. The family was as comfortable as ever. They had a beloved work at the church, which was frequently visited by an extensive number of young people. They coexisted in complete harmony and comprehension, but the family's life was permanently altered on November 10, 2015. At approximately 8:30 a.m., ambulance services arrived at the Blackburn residence on the 2800 block of Sunnyfield Court. After being taken to the hospital in a critical condition, the young pregnant woman was placed on a ventilator and given a number of life-saving procedures. However, Amanda and her unborn child tragically passed away the following day. It transpired that the family was expecting a baby girl, who was named Evie Grace, at her burial. For a considerable amount of time, friends, family, and complete strangers sent public sympathies and prayers for Amanda on social media. November 11th, the date Amanda was officially pronounced dead. In a formal statement, Davey said that Amanda decided to love and assist everyone she knew as her life's work. The whole Orthodox community was devastated by the pregnant woman's murder, and the state seemed taken aback. The public wanted the person who killed Amanda and her unborn child to be captured and punished. Davey Blackburn stated in his first interview under oath that he discovered his wife Amanda hurt and unconscious on the living room floor. She was partially nude, her underwear lying close by, and she was face down on the ground in a pool of blood. The incident, the pastor said to investigators that he departed his residence at around 6 a.m. in the morning to work out at the fitness center. He left the door unlocked. Although it's difficult to determine if the crooks would have stopped if Davey had continued to use the key, it's sure that they couldn't have gotten into the house as quickly, giving Amanda critical time to call 911. However, Amanda sustained 3 gunshot wounds, one of which was to her head. In this instance, no arrests took place. Police soon found that her husband, Davey Blackburn, wasn't responsible for the horrifying incident a few days after it happened. Nonetheless, the statement of Scott Floyd, the first emergency medical paramedic of the Indianapolis Fire Department, who came to the residence following Davey's 911 call, is added to Davey Blackburn's testimony in the trial transcripts. He added that when they got to the house, Davey Blackburn was outside at the end of the driveway, his hands covered in blood. Davey was really calm at the moment. Scott claims that Davey was unaware of what had occurred with his wife, Amanda. He insisted that he was unable to wake her up while she was on the floor. Around 7:30 a.m. in the morning, Davey said, at 8:22 a.m., he dialed emergency services. It took him 12 minutes to get on the phone. Undoubtedly, 12 minutes is a long time in a situation of emergency. He kept saying that he simply believed that something had gone wrong with the pregnancy and that Amanda might have been feeling dizzy and fallen. The transcripts of emergency department physician Dr. Scott Floyd's testimony were not made public. Davey was questioned if he had contacted anybody else. He claimed to have called his father after dialing 911. Davey Blackburn was not cross-examined by the defense attorneys. His claim was supported by security footage from the gym, and he was not one of the suspects, according to the authorities. Then, according to an autopsy performed on November 12th, the woman's back of the head was shot. She also had a gunshot injury that stumbled through and out of her upper back. In addition, there were several scrapes on the left cheek, a split lip, and a knocked bottom tooth. The injuries listed above suggested that Amanda and her attacker may have a struggle. A comprehensive inquiry was started. In addition to interviewing neighboring residences and family members, CCTV footage from surrounding streets was analyzed. As an example, roughly 35 minutes after Davey left the residence, a neighbor claimed to have heard gunshots. Another neighbor stated the Blackburns didn't deserve this and that their street wasn't the kind of place where a shooting might happen. The initial explanation was robbery based on Amanda's injuries and the missing bank cards and MacBook bag. Incidents at different properties. Police found via their investigation that on November 10, 2015, there were many emergency reports about home attacks at different properties close to Blackburn's residence early in the morning. One woman reported that her laptop, keys, purse, and cell phone was missing at her apartment at 5:20 a.m. in the morning. Her vehicle was no longer in the parking lot. She mentioned that her apartment's sliding glass door was wide open. Another woman reported a burglary at a Sunnyfield Court residence 3 hours later. Someone entered via the patio screen break. 4 televisions, a MacBook Pro, a Tiffany pearl necklace, a pink sweater for ladies, a remote control, a bag of oranges, and bedding went missing from the residence, according to the police. Another Sunnyfield Court resident called the emergency services 5 minutes later. That was Davey Blackburn. According to Indianapolis Police Department Lieutenant Richard Riddle, investigators are trying to determine whether the murder and other early morning break-ins in the same neighborhood are interconnected. Police have not disclosed any information about it. However, they have asked the public to get involved with the research by identifying potential suspects in photos they collected from one of the broken-in homes. Davey Blackburn had no doubts that the police force was making every effort to apprehend the person who had murdered his wife. The finding. 3 main pieces of information that helped identify the 3 suspects were an ATM receipt, cell phone records, and a pink sweatshirt. The Chrysler Sebring that was utilized in the crimes had the sweater and receipt that were discovered inside. On November 11th, the car was found by the authorities close to the Blackburn residence. The debit card that was on the receipt matched Amanda Blackburn's stolen card. Upon obtaining a warrant to inspect the ATM camera, investigators discovered footage of the driver hiding his face with a stolen pink sweater. To identify the suspects, police used surveillance footage, witnesses, and DNA testing. Jalen Watson was identified as one of the suspects by DNA testing from the sweater. The first significant development in the case was Watson's identification. According to the affidavit, cell phone records were acquired since Watson's number was included in the database due to his parole violation for a previous break-in. Records from Diana Gordon's cell phone had also been obtained. The records demonstrated that at the time of the crime, Gordon's and Watson's cell phones were in the vicinity. Additionally, the phone records showed that on the day of the murder, Gordon and Watson were in the vicinity of the Chase Bank, where Amanda's debit card was used. The lone missing piece of the puzzle was Larry Taylor. Through the analysis of local security footage, authorities were able to determine Taylor's phone number and locate his address. Reports that a gun had been discovered close to the Blackburn residence emerged in the days following it. According to police, a man claimed to have spotted the gun outside the family's house and presented it to the Broad Ripple Fire Department. Specialists from a crime lab examined the firearm. Following 2 weeks of inquiry and detective work, authorities accused 21-year-old Jalen Watson and 18-year-old Larry Taylor of killing Amanda Blackburn. Diana Gordon, a 24-year-old burglary suspect, was arrested for violating his parole, but as he did not enter the Blackburn residence, he was not punished with a crime. A gun discovered close to the victim's residence was identified as the crime weapon upon the arrival of the crime lab data. The 3 attackers were taken into custody. 3 crooks arrived to rob the Blackburn residence. All they wanted was some cash. They met Amanda inside. Gordon and Watson wanted to leave after seeing the woman. They tried one ATM failed to acquire $500, but they were able to get $400 from another. They were captured on camera at this location. After that, they took a car back to the Blackburn residence to get Taylor. While they were away, there was conflict in the house. After being struck, Amanda regained consciousness and jumped at her attacker. The Blackburn residence was the 3rd target of Taylor, Watson, and Gordon's attack on November 10th. When the resident was asleep, the first robbery had the robbers take off with a laptop, wallet, and car. When they realized they were being videotaped by a security camera inside the house, they just left. The gang drove up to another house, broke through the patio glass, and took jewelry, a bag of oranges, a laptop, 4 televisions, and a pink sweater that let the police identify them. The evidence that the police gathered against the suspects was described in court documents. The most significant item of evidence. Watson tried to withdraw cash using Amanda Blackburn's bank card, but his face was hidden from the camera by a pink sweater that was stolen during the second burglary, and that sweater's DNA was later discovered. Gordon and Watson accepted a shorter sentence in exchange for their cooperation with the inquiry. Larry Taylor acknowledged being close to the burglary scene and gave up his right to stay silent. He stated he was so disoriented that he was unable to recall. The county prosecutor filed formal charges. Larry Taylor, who killed Amanda Blackburn with awareness and purpose, is charged with 13 crimes. Jalen Watson and Taylor are facing numerous allegations of burglary, robbery, and theft. Watson has been charged with a felony. Charges of burglary are also brought against Diana Gordon, who was detained for violating his parole. A 4th individual was aware of the robberies, break-ins, and other crimes, but he refrained from taking part in them. After being questioned, he was let go. Taylor was captured by the federal marshals, the gang unit, and the violent crimes unit of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. The investigators put in endless hours and didn't take a break to solve the city's killings. Justice was done with the help of prosecutor Terry Curry and Assistant U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler. The victim was pregnant, and the prosecution stated they would think about charging the fetus in addition to the initial counts. They said there was no proof that could back up the rape allegations, despite the fact the woman's shirt was pushed up and her underwear was taken off. Trial. In December 2021, Larry Taylor's first trial was held. However, it ended suddenly when it was revealed that one of the jurors had disclosed to other jurors details about the case. The trial was interrupted by the disclosure. It was pronounced a mistrial. October of 2022 saw the final trial. A more comprehensive jury selection process followed. More than 100 persons applied to be jurors in the county. Each had to complete a 16-page questionnaire in order for the lawyers to determine if they could get an acceptable result. In addition to being sentenced to 86 years in the Indiana State Correctional Institution, Larry Joe Taylor was also convicted of other offenses pertaining to a home invasion. He was found guilty of killing Amanda Blackburn. Both Diana Gordon and Jalen Watson entered into plea deals and gave testimony in court against Larry Taylor. Both were given prison terms that varied from 20 to 35 years. Jalen Watson and Larry Taylor are at the Marion County Jail right now. Due to the fact that Amanda Blackburn was pregnant when Larry Taylor killed her, prosecutors have filed a motion to increase his sentence, which could result in an extra 20 years behind bars. The pastor of the church, Davey Blackburn, expressed his happiness that the people who killed his wife have been apprehended and cannot harm anybody else. According to Davey Blackburn, he has confidence that the legal system would grant wisdom to those who have brought about his family's great suffering. Amazingly, he has stated time and time again that he has chosen to forgive Amanda's killers. The case of Amanda Blackburn has attracted a lot of attention from around the nation, receiving coverage in both domestic and foreign media. Davey Blackburn went from being a miserable husband to becoming a well-liked blogger. He recorded several podcasts and videos under the name Nothing Wasted in an attempt to make money off of his tragedy. He started going on TV shows and talking about his wife's passing. He would talk about the tragedy and how painful it had been for him, over and over. He didn't appear unhappy, though. Davey became wealthy and well-known after Amanda passed away. After his wife passed away, he was paid by her insurance, which implies that he did not unintentionally fail to shut the door on November 10th, 2015. What are your thoughts, guys? Our thoughts and prayers go out to those involved. We hope you enjoyed our true crime overview of He Buried His Wife and Became Rich, Horrors in the Holy Family. Be sure to be a True Crime subscriber and hit the bell icon to never miss another true crime video. Leave a comment and a like to show your support. Until next time, stay safe. And if you have a true crime story you would love to see, please be sure to leave in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.